Hello, how are you ladies and gentlemen? This is Agaw Media. The following reports were documented by local emergency teams and independent observers on different occasions in the district of Ihu Gugus and Zigam, Oi Zone, Amhara region, where the Fano paramilitary group has been committing unfolding atrocities for several months against Agaw ethnic members due to their ethnic identity. This report briefs on causality, Fano families and supporters' occupation of Agaw houses and lands, facts on belongings, reasons behind Fano and its collaborators' concentration in Ihu Gogusa and Zigam. Please stay with us. Fano's atrocity has reached its climax since March 2024, following Fano's renewed invasion of towns and villages in the districts of Ihu Gogusa and Zigam. This has resulted in catastrophe on both human life and materials, coupled with thousands of forced displacements and looting. In the latest invasion, Fano used traditional weapons alongside heavy modern weaponry against unarmed civilians, including Dushika machine guns, modern sniper rifles, Baron guns, and Soviet Kalashnikovs. Even traditional weapons like machetes were used to attack women and children. Reportedly, Fanos avoided wasting ammunition on children and women, a tactic reminiscent of the use of machetes by Amhara forces in Tigray during the war. Furthermore, in the latest invasion, Fano utilized significant logistical resources, including 60 vehicles to transport Fano fighters and their families from West Goijam, Dagadamit, and Kwart to Ihu Gogusa and Zigam. The role of these family members in the current invasion is to take over the Agaw people's residential houses and land as soon as the Fano fighters forcefully drive them out of their residency. These Fano family members have been issued forged to portray them as displaced from the conflict areas. Details regarding this aspect are presented in the following section. Casualties. The Italy in terms of propaganda tactics and massacre of civilians sheltered in churches. Heavily affected towns and sub-districts of the current invasion include the following. In Ihu Gogusa, Ao district, Ambla, Ambili, town, Udit, town. In Navara, Vast Kebel, Gori, Dadi, Ao Kapar, Kurafi Gabriel, Gerteko religion, Banasmi, Gori Michael, Maki Yesus, Saga Abo, Ambla Medhenalam, Ambla Silasi, Ambla Kidden Mirat, Ambla Zerabrak, Ambla Yesus. In Zigam district, Gova, town, Jumara, Adi, Surite, Vast Kebel. Among these, the towns of Ambla, Ambili, Goha, Adi, and Surite have been destroyed. In the latest attack, Fano invaded the town of Ambla in the midnight local time, while people were sleeping. For the first 2 hours, they looted property and cattle, then set fire to immobile assets like tractors and houses. Despite some houses surviving the fire, Fano reignited them on February the 26th, and the remaining houses were destroyed. From February the 22nd to the 26th, in the town of Ambili, Ambla and surroundings, 6,611 residential houses were destroyed by fire deliberately set by Fano. 5,000 cattle were looted. 30,000 quintals of grain were destroyed by fire. Innocent children, women, and the elderly were indiscriminately massacred in Ambla, Ambili and its surroundings. The exact figures are still under investigation, and the latest report shows the death of 284 people. This figure from the town of Ambla and surroundings. 500 people were taken hostage to an unknown location. 81,000 people displaced from the town of Ambla, Ambili alone. No emergency humanitarian support has been provided to these IDPs. An unspecified number of people are currently missing. In a similar manner in Zigam district, Fano destroyed with fire the towns of Goha, Surite, and Adi. As a result, 2,230 residential houses were destroyed, and 30,000 people have been displaced and are still scattered without humanitarian support. The atrocities persist up to the time this report was compiled. The latest destruction is most active in Ao Kapar and Arbit and surroundings. Fano families and supporters' occupation of houses and lands after forcefully displacing Agaws from their land. In the occupied areas, Fano members have brought their families from Dagadamit and Kwart and placed them on lands and residencies of Agaws, after forcefully driving them out in sub-districts of Gori, Inavara, Udit, and Dadi. In the last week of the last month alone, about 9,000 Fano family members have arrived from Dagadamit and Kwart packed in Aro tracks. These Fano families have been housed on Agaw farmers' farm camps, employees' residencies, the residential houses of Agaw farmers, and some Fano families have been put in tents to pretend as displaced people from the conflict areas. These new arrivals were provided orientation and 1-week training before placement in Fano training campuses located in Ayahu-Gogusa district, near the Nile River, specifically Tahak, Wang, and Chile. After training, they have been issued forged cards, prepared in the towns of Addis Kidame and Azena, by Fano supporter government officials. Some sources claim that 20,000 forged cards had been produced in March 2024 for this purpose. The issued date traces back years, fraudulently claiming the bearers as residents of Ayahu-Gogusa or Zigam prior to the invasion. However, these deceivers have failed to understand that these districts are segmented with small towns and rural villages, where residents know each other and their whereabouts. Subsequently, the reality on the ground refutes the blackmail with forged cards. In other words, Amhara ethnic members residing prior to the invasion in Agaw areas, like the Yuta towns, are known, who they are and where they live. The Agaw people have no problem with these people, and of course, they are entitled to live in dignity. A sad part of the story is some Amhara government officials' collaboration with Fano invaders, under the pretext of civilian safety. Under this context, the said government officials definitely prevented the ENDF from dislodging Fano in Ayahu-Gogusa district, the town of Udit, Arbit, Inavara, Gori, Kapar Hills, Fano's strong fortress, and training centers, Tahak, Wang, and Chile. Not only have they been misinforming the ENDF commanders there, contrary to reality. As discussed above, the reality is that the people accompanying Fano fighters, and put for show in tents are not actually displaced from the conflict zone, but delivered from Dagadamet and Quart, from relatively warm houses, for the purposes discussed above. If these officials are really sincere to civilians, why not advise these so-called IDPs to return to their warm homes in Quart and Dagadamet, rather than illegally occupying property not belonging to them? If the officials are really sincere about civilian safety, why didn't they even condemn Fano's atrocity, at least upon the destruction of the towns, and dozens of sub-districts, Kebeles, in the same districts, Ayahu-Gogusa and Zigam, and displacement of 111,000 from both districts? Are not these Agaw people under their rule? Let might God serve justice. Hard facts about belonging, in the surroundings of the town of Udit, Dadi, Inavara, and Gori, residencies and farmlands presently occupied by Fano families, and supporters belong to the following farming enterprise, and farmers. 1. Ao Agro Farming, owned by Ahmed's Midurk, location Ao. 2. Gonder Farming, location Udit. 3. Demit Retta Farming, location Udit. 4. Fanawogi Farming, location Dadi Dens. 5. Dadi Diversified Farming, location Dadi Dens. 6. Algonesh Bainzigan Farming, location Dadi Dens. 7. Kafalu Meseret Farming, location Inavara. 8. Getafe Mojas Farming, location Inavara. 9. Buck Mount Farming, location Inavara. 10. Nibret Mengisti Farming, location Inavara. 11. Chale Chukind Farming, location Inavara. 12. Ahadu Farming, location Gori. 13. Kasahanabosh Farming, location Dadi Dens. 14. Colonel Miskanu Farming, location Dadi Dens. 15. Abiy, Nile Farming, location Dadi Dens. 16. Gitnet Beer Farming, location Dadi Dens. 17. And other 50 for individual farmers. Reasons behind Fano and its collaborators' concentration in Ayahu-Gogusa and Zigam. One may ask, what the reason behind Fano and its collaborators to put such huge resources and commit such large-scale destruction in Ayahu-Gogusa and Zigam districts, in particular? Here are the answers to this question, as stated on a number of occasions, by Fano and its diaspora representatives. 1. Fano and its collaborators are prepared and determined to eradicate the Agaw population in the region, aiming to take over their land and historical heritages. 2. Despite losing the war, Fano leadership and their collaborators still believe that defeating Agaw areas will enable them to defeat Miteko, and on the other hand, defeating Miteko will eventually enable them to remove the government from Forkilo in the long run. This ambition is called Plana. Let us take a few minutes to listen Fano representatives remark on the importance of Miteko and I to reach Forkilo.
ትግራች ማይዘው ግልጽ መሆን አለበት። መተከልን ሳትይዝ 4 ኪሎ አትይዝ። በፍጥነት ነው እየሰሩበት ያሉ ክልልነት አይንህ እያየ አገው ክልል ነው ሲባል አይንህ እያየ ተዋል። የዛን ጊዜ ብታለቅስ አገው አማራ ነው ብትል ምን የምታመጣው ነገር የለም። አይነ ያየ ያረጉት አይነ ያየ እኮ ነው እየጠየቁ ያሉት እኮ ነው። ያው ደብዳቤውን ያሳየናቸዋል። አይነ ያየ አገው ክልልነት ጥያቄ እየጠየቀ ነገ አገው ክልል ሲሆን ምን ያመጣሉ? የትም አይሄዱም። እዚሁ ኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ ናቸው ልትለኝ ነው? ክልል ከሆነ አስባል
ዘራቆ አማራ ክልልን ወደ አራት እንከፍለዋለን ሲሉ ብዙ ሰው የመሰለው ጎንደር፣ ጎጃም፣ ሸዋ፣ ወሎ ነው አይደለም። አንደኛው አዊ ነው። ቀጥል ፕሊስ።
ስለዚህ አማራው አሁን ካልነቃ ክልል እንደሚኮን ወቅ በስነ ስርዓት ክልል ሊሆን ነገ ስብሰባ ያደርጋል። ሁጂ ዛሬ ለኔ ዛሬ ማታ ማለት ስብሰባ ይደረጋል። ውሳኔ ይሰጥበታል። ኦሬዲ 98 ፔጅ ሙሉ ፊርማ ይዘዋል። ለማን ሰጥቷል? 2014 ላይ ነው፣ 2 ዓመት በፊት የሰጡት ይሄንን ፊርማ። አሁንም 1 ዓመት ሞላው ብለው በፍጥነት ለማድረግ እየሞከሩ አይነ እያየ አገው ክልል ይሆናል። አይነ እያየ ከዛ ወዲያ መተከልን ባይ ባይ አማራ። ከዛ በኋላ እውነቱን ልንገር አማራ ይሰበራል። ከዛ በኋላ ይሄንን ነው እንኳን 4 ኪሎ አይደለም 4 ኪሎ ጫፍ አደርስ መተከልን ሳትይዝ 4 ኪሎ ጫፍ አገው ክልል ከሆነ 4 ኪሎ ጫፍ አትደርስም። ማሽ ነው። ከዛ በኋላ ፋኖ ብትል ምን ብትል የለም። ካሁኑኑ የፖለቲካውን ስራ ካልሰራ ካሁኑኑ ይሄንን ነገር ካላስቆምክ 4 ኪሎ መግባት የሚባል ነገር የለም። ይሄንን ነው አገው ክልል ከሆነ ይሆናል። ደግሞ እርግጠኛ ነኝ የምናገር ካሁኑኑ ይሄንን ሊያስቆም የሚችለው ማን? እናንተ ናችሁ እዚህ ውስጥ ያላችሁ። ይሄንን ሊያስቆም የሚችለው የጎጃም አማራ ነው፣ ጎንደር ያለው አማራ ነው፣ ክልል ውጭ ያለው አማራ ነው፣ የሸዋ የወሎ አማራ ነው። ይሄንን ሊያስቆም የሚችለው ካላስቆማችሁትስ ዛሬ ብዙ ጎጃም አይኖችን ሊሰውሩ ፈልገው ነበር።
3. If materializing plan fails, Fano and its supporters have a strong intention to create an independent Amhara nation, comprising Metekel, Shuwa, and parts of Wellega, as shown on a published map by Eskender-led PF. This is designated as Plan B. As such, controlling I becomes critical to expand further into Metekel and Wellega. 4. Fano's activities in Dagadamet, Quart, and Sekela primarily rely on resources looted from Agaw zone, Ihu Gogusa, Zigam, and Jai, and Fano's losing these districts significantly affects its activities, and even survival in Dagadamet, Quart, and Sekela. One reason for Fano's indiscriminate atrocity appears to prevent perceived demise. 5. Agaw's lack of appropriate equipment and logistics for self-defense, coupled with the international community's silence, reinforced Fano and its collaborators to commit atrocities with a sense of unaccountability for their consequences. In conclusion, regrettably, both the Ethiopian government and the international community have failed to fulfill their responsibility in halting the ongoing atrocities. We conclude this report with a call to action, directed towards the Ethiopian government and the international community, urging them to take immediate and tangible steps to halt these crimes against humanity. This includes providing resources for lawful self-defense and humanitarian aid. We anticipate providing further updates in another report. Thank you for watching.